All right, folks, the reason why we're here, right? I am so stoked to have a very special guest speaker. That is Chad Barger with us today to dive into something so important called monthly giving, building your nonprofit sustainability plan. I don't know about you, I am so eager to learn about the strategies to really get that monthly supportive income rolling in. But before I dive into the session, I wanted to share a little bit about our guest speaker today. This is just a very small fraction of all of the amazing things Chad does. Chad Barger, he's a seasoned expert in nonprofit fundraising. Through his firm, Productive Fundraising, he teaches small and mid-sized nonprofits on strategies that really help you deliver sustainable and growing revenue. We all know and love him. He's a sought-after conference speaker, a webinar presenter, a master trainer for all of you nonprofits that have very resistant boards about fundraising. I'm sure we can all relate to that. He also serves as a strategic advisor and a coach for so many of us nonprofit professionals. And I would say, myself and other fundraisers, we come to know and love him as Fundraiser Chad. He hosts an amazing free monthly webinar series. And I would say one of the most comprehensive resource libraries out there, free of charge for all of us. So all to say, we're definitely in great hands today.
Great. Thank you so much, Britt. Pleasure to be with all of you today. Pleasure to be back with Donorbox. I love Donorbox. It's how I get people to take the deep dive from not just using PayPal for an online donation page and actually getting something optimized for their donors. And one of the great things about Donorbox too is it is completely optimized for monthly giving. So we'll look at that a little later, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. So here we are, monthly giving, your nonprofit sustainability plan. And why do I call it that? Why do I call it your nonprofit sustainability plan? Well, we're going to look at two nonprofit organizations. So these two nonprofits were actually clients of mine at the start of the pandemic. So in March of 2020. You can see their revenue mixes. Organization A was extremely reliant on special events. They had 6 events throughout the year. It was almost half of their income. And look, less than 1% of it came from monthly giving. Organization B, kind of the complete opposite. 60% was from monthly giving, sustaining donors, giving each and every month. And only 5% from special events. So who did I hear from first? Within 3 days, I heard from Organization A because they already had to think about canceling or postponing 2 events. And there was nothing to fill that revenue gap. Number B, was they were fine. Like the money just kept coming, right? 5% from events. B, I didn't hear from them until our next regularly scheduled call. It took that long. They were fine. They said, we might have to do something with the event in the fall, but the money's coming. We're okay. So that's why I call it your sustainability plan. The money just keeps coming. What are we going to do today? We're going to talk about the why. Why monthly giving? If that's not reason enough. We're going to talk about how to launch a monthly giving program if you don't have one, how to market one if you do, how to better market one if you do, and finally, if you have a really good program, what are some things you can do to optimize that program you already have? If you've ever been to a Fundraiser Chad webinar, I will give you tons of additional fundraising resources, and we'll take your questions and comments at the end. I don't need to tell you who I am. Britt did a fabulous job, but career-long fundraiser, worked with the organizations in the top row, a bunch of certifications. And these days, I spend my time with my own firm, Productive Fundraising, providing fundraising training and coaching for small to mid-sized nonprofits. And I have the honor of serving on the faculty at both Temple University and Messiah University, teaching their fundraising courses. So that is me. I am coming to you from just outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania, where they make your chocolate bars, because we have lots of milk, lots of dairy farms in the area. I already saw the question in the chat. Can you get the slides? Yes, you are going to get the slides, the resources, the recording. You have my resources link. You'll get a follow-up email from the good folks at Donorbox. You get everything. you get everything. And there is that direct link to my resources page. Let's get into it. Why smart nonprofits focus on growing monthly giving? Well, here are some reasons. Monthly donors give more. The average one-time gift to a nonprofit is $125. The average monthly gift is $25. Do the math, that's $300 a year versus $125. Monthly donors are more loyal. They have an 80% retention rate after 1 year, 95% after 5 years. The average donor retention rate for one-time donors, 43%. Actually, I think it's down to 42.6%, depending on source. Monthly donors make estate gifts. They're 6 times more likely to include your organization in their will. And the pushback I get a lot is, Chad, my donors just won't give monthly. Well, I'm waiting for the updated stat here because this was a 2019 stat. In 2019, 45% of donors were already enrolled in a monthly giving program somewhere. And your donors are used to monthly giving. They pay so many bills monthly, just automatically charges to my credit card or deducts from my bank account. They will do it. We just have to give them a compelling reason why. And monthly giving programs provide budget stability and eliminates pledges that aren't fulfilled. So great ways. So if you need to sell it in your shop, here's the slide. Take these stats, take it to the powers that be, and show them why you need monthly giving. Also, it will make you a favorite person of the bean counter in your organization. Who is your finance person, your treasurer, your bookkeeper, your CFO? They love monthly giving because it provides steady, predictable, recurring income, which makes their job so much easier. They don't have to do all the cash flow antics tools they have. There's just going to be that funding there. And the time is now. Monthly giving really kicked off in 2020. It continues to grow very well year over year, much faster than it used to. We saw a 26% increase in monthly giving enrollments in 2021, 24% the year after. A lot of good movement. If you're not on the monthly giving train, the time is now. Bottom line, organizational stability matters much more now than it did in 2019. Donors still get it, and if we make that case, they are happy to give. So how do we do this? How do we launch a monthly giving program? Well, let's talk the tech. You do need some technology, right? It doesn't have to be complicated, right? So it doesn't have to be complicated. If you have PayPal, you can have monthly giving. It's an option in there. I don't recommend having PayPal as your only giving form because it's like you're buying something off eBay rather than making a donation. But interesting stat there, 20% of donors actually prefer PayPal and 9% won't give if you don't offer it as a payment option. So it's somewhere in your ecosystem, but it's not your system. Okay? I love a built-in giving option. So if you have an advanced CRM, it's going to have giving pages and all kinds of tools that you can create, and monthly giving is an option there. If you don't, create a Donorbox, right? It's a fully functional, optimized tool. We'll look at one here in a little bit that can really allow you to present customized giving options to your donors, monthly giving being one of them and fully optimized for that. Here's an example page. So this is actually a Donorbox. And you can see right there, there's a slider between one-time and monthly. That monthly is highlighted. There are the options. We can embed it right in a page with photos and telling me why. Why? Help us give children their best tomorrow. Here's another one. I really like this one. Look what it's doing. It's bringing our case for support into the donation tool and telling us what that does. $5 a month provides a student with school supplies. $10 a month covers tutoring, reading support, or college entrance exam preparation. So optimized tool, tell me why I should give monthly. That's that key. You can't just put up a monthly option and expect them to do it. You got to tell them why. If you make monthly giving the default option on your form, you can increase conversions by up to 35%. You have to decide if you're comfortable with that. If you do it, I highly recommend multiple times in the confirmation process, you are telling them that they're signing up for a monthly gift, but it really highlights it, monthly first. You got to look on mobile. I need to update this stat because now 33% of all online donations are made on mobile devices, including 18% of monthly giving enrollments. What's that like at your organization? If you don't know, after the webinar, make a $5, $10 donation to your organization on your phone. Is there friction? If there's friction, you're losing donations because people aren't going to stop and go to your website to do it. Instead, they're going to just stop and be frustrated. You have to inspire that gift all over again. Make sure your organization name shows up on the credit card statement, right? I'm not going to say it out loud, but there's a vendor listed there that the default is their name first, right? So what's that look like at your shop? Because if they see a name they don't recognize, they're more likely to contest the charge. And add a checkbox to your print donation forms as well. It seems weird, like why would we do it on print? Because they probably have to go to our website to enroll, but we just need to keep repeating that monthly comes first, right? We want to encourage that monthly giving everywhere. It looks something like this right here. I want patients to be able to count on my support. Please make this a monthly gift. And then we'll just follow up with them with the enrollment form, whatever we need to do. But we're just looking for them to give away. Make it easy to ask for help through your monthly giving enrollment process. They might have questions. So you have maybe a dedicated page on your website that explains the importance of monthly giving. There's a phone number and an email for a real person, not your info ad address, in case they have questions. There's a downloadable form in case they'd actually like to fill it out and send it in. I really wish we could get away from this, but fortunately, some people think it's still more secure to write their credit card number on a piece of paper than to type it into a web form. But maybe it's an option. Make sure you have good internal policies and procedures on what happens with that piece of paper. There are still donors that won't do that, so give them the option. All right, we are functional. We got our web form, we got it on our e-blast, but I'm not ready yet. I want to talk about donor experience of being a monthly giver and set that up at our organization first. So first things, what happens as soon as I click donate, as soon as I click sign up to give monthly? I don't want it to go to this generic page that just says, it's like a transaction. It's like a credit card statement. No, you can have some fun. So show some emotion, show them what their dollars are going to do. You can create like a 12-second video in Canva. Like take stock photography from your organization, say thank you. It's very easy to do. Have that autoplay after they make the donation, and then go to the transaction confirmation page. Infuse the mission. And what does that confirmation email look like? Let's make it a little more personal. Here we go. Because of you, countless children and their families have a reason to be thankful. Because of your recurring support, patients can celebrate health and healing and look forward for hope and strength. There's a real person at the bottom. Yes, it's automatically generated, but I can get in touch with somebody and begin to have this conversation. We're still not ready. What happens after that? What's your monthly giving stewardship look like? Maybe they get a handwritten welcome note a few weeks later. Every January, you got to send them an annual summary, like listing all the gifts from the previous year with the total. That's their tax statement. We don't need to send them a mailed statement every month. They're going to automatically get the confirmation email when it processes. I like to flag them in the database and remove them from our standard mail, so they're not getting solicitations when their monthly gift just processed. Yes, we can still solicit them for maybe an upgrade or a special gift. We'll talk about that a little later. But let's not just, there's this one organization I support monthly, and my credit card happens to process on the same day that they have an automatic monthly solicitation request. So literally within an hour of giving, I get solicited from them every single month. And every single month it annoys me, and I'm like, if I didn't love this organization so much, I would cancel this. Right? So let's not annoy our donors. One of my things too, like our end of calendar year appeal, where we usually have a great story. Hopefully you have a great story in that one. If not all of them, I'll kind of still send it to them, but I'll put a little note on it. Like I love to do a post-it that says, thanks for being a monthly donor. We just wanted to share this fabulous story with you, period. And we can still include an envelope, and some of them will still make an extra year-end gift, but we're acknowledging the fact that they are a monthly donor. I like to do something special for monthly donors kind of quarterly. Maybe a quick little video. Hey there, thanks so much for being a monthly donor. We greatly appreciate you. Couldn't do it without you. Your recurring monthly support ensures we are always here to serve the kids each and every month. Thanks again. Took 20 seconds. We walk around with high definition video cameras in our handbags at all times, right? Some other creative touch points. Here's example monthly gift. A thank you note for a monthly donor, right? It acknowledges me as a monthly donor. You're helping our neighbors in need month to month and day to day, right? I love postcards. This is my favorite postcard I've sent of all time, but just a standard postcard. I like the jumbo ones. Don't send them during October to mid-November of this year. Our politician friends will be sending plenty of them, but any other time of year, they work great. But I sent this, this is a die cut postcard. So it actually was in the shape of a violin. You can see the front and back there. The pink line was the die cut. These are the same price as jumbo postcards as long as they have the die in stock. So there's tons of dies. There's pineapples, there's owls, there's ice cream sundaes. A lot of my clients love to do die cut hearts around Valentine's Day. But easy way to kind of stand out from the crowd and do something pretty inexpensive to thank our monthly donors. But you need to send your donors a piece of generous communication every month in hopes they'll actually see or read a quarter of it, right? See or read a quarter of it. Final step. Excuse me, folks. I was at a hockey game last night. Have a little bit of tickle here. I was telling the Donorbox team at the beginning that had to do a little extra encouragement to encourage the win. It didn't work, but we're sipping on some tea to help with that. So final step that 90% of organizations don't do, and why they don't have that many monthly donors, is they don't set a goal, right? Set a goal. What is it? We're at 50, can we be at 100 by the end of the year? Setting the goal ensures that we have some consistent effort moving forward. Marketing a monthly giving program. Marketing a monthly giving program. How do you actually get people to do it? It's not good enough just to create it. You can have the most optimized program ever, but if you don't market it well, no one's going to join. This is not the if we build it, they will come situation. We have to do some smart marketing. So I'd like to focus less on the name of it, like whatever our sustaining pillars, society, whatever we call it, less on like a brand, less on the benefits. They're not giving for the benefits. They might be nice, but focusing more on the why. Tell me why I should become a monthly donor. Repeatedly. So let's look at some of those whys. I'm going to skip the first one because it didn't used to work. Main things we used to say pre-pandemic was your monthly support allows us to spend more time serving our neighbors in need and less time on fundraising. All right, it's fine, but we're probably still going to fundraise, just do it a different way, right? Or we primarily share stories of impact with our monthly donors rather than requests for more support, which is fine, but then you actually have to remember to pull them out and not ask them for more support. What works really good now is your monthly financial support provides ongoing sustainability for our programs. That sustainability word works really well now. Your monthly support ensures we are always standing by, ready to help. Ensures that the show will always go on at our theater. That kind of language. Okay, so let's look at some optimized pages here. I love this group. This is Sparrow's Nest in Hudson Valley. Look at the language over here. Your commitment to Sparrow's Circle, our monthly giving program, helps us deliver comfort each month while funding our mission for future generations. And it goes on to talk a little bit about which programs it supports. Right in there. Testimonials work really well. How do you get more of anything? More volunteers, more donors, more monthly donors? Let's hear from the ones we already have. This is social proof. My monthly support allows me to go to bed each night knowing that I'm doing my part. Becoming a monthly donor has been such a rewarding process. We know that we are part of the solution. As we talked about a little bit earlier, your first ask should be for a monthly gift. Your donors pay everything monthly. So let's think about all our channels. On our website, having monthly be first. In an email blast, I've actually seen email blasts with two buttons, monthly giving first One-time gift second. Mailed appeals, we have it on the checkbox in there. It's first. Peer-to-peer campaigns. We're going to ask folks to raise money on our behalf instead of one-time gifts. Will you go out and find us $10 a month donors? Then they're going to stick around. If we do a live appeal at our special event, instead of asking people for one-time gifts, ask them for monthly gifts. Please raise your paddle if you'll give $500 a month, $250 a month, $100 a month, and kind of come on down. And when we're trying to renew lapsed donors, let's try to renew them as monthly donors. I mean, they've already showed they're kind of inconsistent. So let's bring them back at that consistent level. Another great way to market monthly giving programs is with a match. So we're familiar with matching gifts. You know, we raise a pool of funds, maybe from our board, a certain donor, a foundation, and we match some kind of activity. 84% of potential donors are more willing to give if a match is being offered. The ability to have a match also creates urgency. This is really great for like a mid-year appeal. So end of year 12/31 kind of creates some urgency. But you know, if we're trying to do something to wrap up our fiscal year on June 30th, having a match can kind of create that time. Your donors do not care about your fiscal year. But if June 15th is the deadline to make a gift and have it matched, that creates some urgency. Make monthly giving the only way to get the match. I love to match all new and increased monthly gifts. So again, I'm showing the behavior that we want. Here's a sample page from Feeding America. Look at the text there. Your monthly gift creates a reliable source of funding year-round to help provide meals to families facing hunger. As a monthly donor, you will be welcomed into the Feeding America Hunger Council. And thanks to a generous partner, the impact of your first monthly donation can be doubled. All right, there we go. Yeah. Social media, more social proof. Last week, our monthly supporters had the opportunity to do a live video chat with 6 of our students. The kids got to practice their English, and the donors got to ask questions about their experience here. Thanks to all who participated. All right, that's pretty cool. We can do that. What I love here, look, the staff member is stepping back, right? They're stepping back. The kids are interacting directly with the monthly donors. We can create that. That's a better benefit than a t-shirt, a bookmark, whatever you want to send me. Give me connection with the kids, with the experience. So what in my personal experience in, didn't do monthly giving my whole career, but certainly my last 10 years as a frontline fundraiser, and what have I seen work with my coaching clients? Everything's set up and optimized now, but we've got a million other things to do. So who do I ask to become a monthly donor? How should I do it? And when do I make the ask? Kind of those key questions, the who, the how, and the when. Who? We kind of try to first target folks that are kind of already partway there. So maybe donors who already give by credit card. They're comfortable with it. Donors who already give more than once per year. Every time you send a newsletter, they send back the envelope. Donors who give through multiple channels. They'll make an online gift if we ask. They'll attend our event. They send in an end of year donation in the mail. They give through their donor advised fund. All these different channels. That tells you they're comfortable a lot of places. Also younger donors. 52% of millennials are interested in monthly giving. It kind of goes up from there. The younger generations grew up with the subscription model. They're growing up currently with all the streaming services. They're used to this. Donors that don't give enough. This is kind of my frank add-in, especially if you're a small shop. Donors that don't give enough for you to be able to give them personal attention. I would love to be able to give personal attention to all of our donors, but we unfortunately have to choose who to focus on. I don't like just focusing on the high givers, but they are certainly one group. So if we take out who we can handle personal attention with, it's probably 90% of your existing donor base that you should be working to try to convert to a monthly donor. How? This is my counterintuitive approach that I've seen work in many organizations. I actually go to mail. People get too much email. It goes to a subfolder that they don't read that often. So mail. Right? In that letter, which I have a sample one for you, We make the case why it's good for both the organization and them. And so, specific amount. The recommendation is 1/3 of their last gift amount. I think that's a little high sometimes. So, if they gave $25, we'd be asking for $8 per month. $100 is $33 per month. A nicer number with 100 might be like 20. You're still going to go from a $100 gift to $240 over the course of the year. But you have to figure out what you're comfortable with. But asking for a specific amount based on their past giving history. It is a hand-signed letter. It has a little personal note on it, like, I hope you'll join me in becoming a monthly donor for our organization. You can have a photo of your program and their support, paperclip to it. We're making this highly personal. Maybe there's a QR code that shows a video of the program in action that redirects to the monthly giving form. And this is sent in a hand-addressed stamped envelope. And crooked stamp, I don't know if you know this statistic, but a crooked stamp actually has a 7% higher open rate because they know a person touched it. This seems like a lot of work, but could you send out 5 of these a week? Could you get a volunteer to help you do most of this work and get out, 30 a month, something like that, this slow, consistent effort over time. There are a few personalized follow-up emails. It's not an e-blast. It's not canned. It's coming from a person, from you, maybe from a volunteer, maybe from another donor, asking them to join them and becoming a monthly donor. And that personalized video, asking them to do it. Hey, Mary, it's Chad. We sent you a letter last week asking you to consider becoming a monthly donor of ABC organization. I hope you'll join me in doing that. The kids would really appreciate it, and we'd see so much more impact. Something like that. It works because I said her name, Mary. Volunteers can be incredibly valuable in getting this done because this takes time, but it is effective. This is on the resources page for you. This is my template. Take it, adjust it, make it work for you, and create that highly customized mail pack in your email system follow-up. Here's an example page of having that QR code in there. Things you can do, put it right in the letter. I also like to caption it as well. What happens if you scan this QR code? Scan this code, sign up to become a monthly donor. Here's an optimized mail letter. So if you're going to include a story, you want to include photos, this is fully optimized. Here's that hand address stamped envelope. Needs a little more tilt on that stamp, right? Okay, when? I like February, March as my favorite time. If you're not going to do like the 5 mail packs a week or something, you're going to actually do a mailing asking them to convert. It's not going to work as well, but it's more time efficient. February, March works really well. Assuming you've sent some stewardship in kind of that January timeframe, February, March works well. They've made their gift. You've shown them what happened. They have their gift acknowledgement letter. Now you're ready to say, thank you so much for your support. I wouldn't let you know about an opportunity to help out folks in our community each and every month. So that works well. August, September also kind of works well. It's that lull before our Q4 giving time. And then in general, like 2 to 3 months after a major appeal, it's a good time to reach out and talk about potential ways you can convert to monthly giving. You can't send a letter. You can't send one of these asks unless you've already had some stewardship where you've told them what happened with their last gift. You have to tell them what happened with the last gift. Here's math. Fundraisers don't love math. We like getting money, not counting it, right? So, but here's what happens if you do this consistent process. So 5 monthly conversion asks per workday, right? Maybe we got a steady volunteer, we have good staffing, we can pull that off. That's going to lead to 1,125 asks. We're just assuming a 10% conversion rate, with which that mail pack is pretty regular. 112 new monthly donors. Average monthly gift is given in the range of 19 to 25. I'm going low end here. $25,000 new per year. I would maybe do that investment, right? And these are maybe major donors of the future. You only get 5 per week, still a big impact. 22 new monthly donors over the course of the year, an extra $5,000 per year. It can make a big difference. It could be a lot more if you get folks way above that major gift. Okay, that's my conversion process. That's the who, what, when. let's talk a bit about optimizing your program, give you some additional resources, and then we'll get to your questions. So, optimizing. 2 tips to optimize your program. If you are not using a system that automatically updates credit cards, I recommend switching to a system that automatically updates credit cards, like a Donorbox type tool, but you can do that as an add-on service. Have you noticed you no longer get requests from anything you subscribe to for an updated credit card expiration date? Like, that just doesn't happen anymore. The for-profit companies use this. They just get it updated. It's a cost of doing business. It eliminates the hassle from the donor, all of that. So that could work, if that's a problem for you. Also, we can kind of try to get our fees down. So we need to wait a while. I don't like to do this until someone's been a monthly donor for maybe 3 years or so, but we can encourage them to switch to bank account. So switch to ACH for their monthly gifts. It reduces declines from 6.3% down to 0.5%, right? Because people close credit cards every once in a while. People very rarely close bank accounts. Like typically only if you're leaving an area and going to a place that bank doesn't exist. It's kind of one of the few times that we actually do that. And some people still, they just keep that open because it's too much hassle and I'm just going to transfer money between them online. So add some consistency, helps to increase retention even more. Finally, to optimize your program, this is the big one. Don't forget or be afraid to ask your monthly donors to increase their support. Increase their support, yes. Not often, but I kind of like once a year, reaching out and asking them to consider increasing their support. Yes, I do have the stats in here. 12% of monthly donors will upgrade their monthly gift amount once per year if asked. Thank you so much for your loyal monthly support of $20 a month. We're writing to see if you'd consider increasing to $25 per month, as unfortunately the needs for our services continue to grow. Simple ask. 12%, I'll take 12%. As I said before, another great use case for matching gift, matching any new or increased monthly donation. The amount of your increase will be matched for the first year as a result of the support of ABC Bank, whoever is doing the match. Just like before, more personal the request is, the more likely they'll respond to say yes. They're also more likely to respond digitally at this point. They've gotten to know us, know our resources. They're comfortable with us that way. And another great use for that personal video, asking them to do so. Top example, many of you probably are familiar with them, but my favorite example of completely, fully optimized monthly giving is Charity Water. Unless you have big budget, you're not going to be able to do everything they do. But we can take our tools and implement a lot of what they do. So at Charity Water, their monthly givers are part of the Spring. It's a community of monthly donors bringing clean water to people in need. See, they use that word community. They've taken their monthly givers and built a community around them. You feel like you're part of something. They're not giving you a lot of stuff. They're just making you feel a part of a group of committed people changing the world. Look at that. This is their donate page. There is no way to give one time. That's a bold choice. But to join the Spring, you got to be a monthly donor. You actually have to dig. I timed it last year when I was updating this presentation. It took me 43 seconds to figure out how to give to Charity Water with a one-time gift. I had to dig through like 3 or 4 pages. It's a choice, but it creates more monthly givers. Look, they have the why right on there. Your $40 monthly donation can give 12 people clean water every year. When you interview the Harrisons, the co-creators of Charity Water, Victoria says, all roads lead to the Spring. It's Charity Water's flagship giving product, the one that everything else relies on. The Spring is a passionate and determined group of monthly givers on a mission to end the water crisis in our lifetime. Would you love a passionate and determined group of people on a mission to solve your challenge, right? I would love that. So what's this look like? It's a culture of monthly giving that they have built. want to give you some additional fundraising resources, monthly giving related, and then some general ones as well. And then monthly giving creates lots of questions. So I wanted to be sure to save ample time here today to get to your questions and for us to wrap things up. So where do I go if I want more or dig deeper? Well, you go talk to my friend Erica. So this is Erica Wasdorp. She is my go-to monthly giving expert, fabulous on the topic. Linked up on the resources page, I have the free resource on the left. This is her monthly donor roadmap. I believe it's 11 steps on how you kind of drive this process. So if you want to get even more granular than the simple process I gave you, this is the go-to place. And one of my top 5 fundraising books of all time is hers, Monthly Giving Made Easy. As you can see, it's a nice quick read. What I love is there's tons of examples, screenshots. She shows you exactly how to set up, optimize pages, and gives you tons of options. And also affordable, 20, 30 bucks on Amazon, or as we were talking amongst staff in the pre-chat, check your local library. A lot of libraries have fundraising books. If you use Libby, you can get it to a Kindle, a phone, those kind of things, but check and see what resources are available for you. But definitely, Erica also has a weekly e-blast that I highly recommend. If you ever see her at a conference, always a great presentation. Me, I go by Fundraiser Chad on social media. So if you like the style of practical, easy to implement fundraising tips, I share them on both my Facebook page and LinkedIn, where I'm most active. Articles, tips, a little bit of self-care, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't be good fundraisers, information, upcoming webinars, all kinds of great resources for you folks. One of those resources is my free monthly webinar. I do one of those each and every month. And this month, or actually I already did this month, so next month we are doing Engaging Your Donors Online in 2024. So how do we best engage our donors online, where we actually get their attention in a very noisy space, especially during an election year in the US. So finally, my firm, Productive Fundraising, what do? We do board and staff fundraising training, coaching for fundraisers and nonprofit executive directors, and onboarding coaching for staff new to fundraising. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and hop over and take some of your fabulous questions.
Yeah, and Chad, just I was saying yes during the webinar. I would say in a lot of my coaching sessions with various nonprofits, there's this kind of shared sentiment of being in reactionary mode, right? We're kind of navigating a very tricky giving time, a tricky economic time. And I think just everything that you've touched on about creating a monthly giving program, this is kind of an uplifting way, right? To really kind of have some control in the work that we're doing. So just extremely energized by everything you talked about. And again, before we just jump into the Q&A session, Lindsay, can you just share that valuable resource of Chad's in the chat box for us? That would be great. Thank you, Lindsay and Kara, for addressing some product-related questions throughout the chat. Let's go ahead and dive into all of the juicy questions. I am going to start, let's see, from bottom to top. So we have, Chad, we have a great question from Miriam, or actually Georgia first. And the question has to do with, how do we attract new donors and make them believe in our organizations in order to get them to give us money?
Yeah, so I'm assuming we're not talking new monthly here, just kind of new donors in general, because I find it very hard to attract new donors as a monthly donor. Typically, most donors are going to need some kind of experience with us. Most donors make test gifts. So, I like this cause. I'm going to give you 25 bucks. I'm going to give you 100 bucks. But really, I could give you 250 bucks or 1,000 bucks. I want to see how I'm treated. Major donors especially do this. And for me, this is the one. I'm not a big events guy. They take a lot of time. They take a lot of energy. I've been exhausted for way too much of my frontline career from fundraising events. But that is one way I like to use them, is to attract new donors. Our fundraising events are some of the most public things we do. It's the easiest way for our current donors to invite new people to come with them, to join them in attending this, supporting the cause. So events can serve that purpose. It's actually the only way I like organizations to even do them. Like, my first goal with a fundraising event is not to raise a certain amount of money. It's to have like 40% of the people be people I've never met before. So they're being introduced to the cause.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about that, also my last point here is when you poll major donors on how do they like to be introduced to new causes, they overwhelmingly say at a small, intimate event in the home of someone I know and trust. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe instead of a gala, we do, like, I call them small socials, 5 or 6 small socials throughout the year, where we're going to get to know maybe 10, 15 new people each time. So just a couple thoughts.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chad. And I would also, as a fundraiser coach at Donorbox, I would encourage everyone here, look at your existing donors, look at your data. Who are the donors that have given to your nonprofit multiple times in the past? It might be a past year, past 2 years. Those are your people that are already bought into what you're doing, right? And so look to them first, and then anything you're doing, whether it's storytelling or creating these campaigns, make it so that you're talking directly to them, and also finding out where those donors are the most active. So that's great, Chad. Let me pull out another question from Sophia. Sophia asks, do you see value in connecting monthly donors to each other in addition to connecting them with our work, with the work of our charity? So do you see any value in connecting monthly donors to each other within this kind of monthly giving program?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of what, the example I gave with Charity Water does with the spring. Like, you're getting specific information. There is, I believe, a community there where they can come together. There's multiple donors supporting the same project. They actually send you like GPS coordinates on the well that you've supported. So, I mean, the impact reporting is kind of nuts. But I would recognize the fact that not every donor is going to want that. Some donors are very introverted. They're not coming to us for community. They're coming to serve. But I think that's something you can look into, perhaps creating an opportunity. Creating community could be as simple as we do a quarterly town hall Q&A, like something like this, where we just offer it to our monthly donors, maybe our certain groups of donors, and come ask our program staff key questions about the people we serve. Maybe we can have a beneficiary talk about their experience, something like that. But an option, sure. I think it could deepen donor relationships and perhaps grow giving over time.
That's great. Throwing out another question for you or I from David. Thanks, David, for asking this. Is recurring revenue more valuable, in your opinion, than annual revenue?
So I'll see what you think, Britt. But for me, the key is retention rate difference. So are we talking monthly recurring versus annual recurring? Or are we talking
David?
Monthly?
Yeah, David positioned it as monthly and recurring. I think for the sake of the conversation right now, let's touch on just monthly donors as opposed to those one-time donations. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's a total retention rate thing for me. I would much rather have 85% retention than 43. So, and if they're on autopilot, they just pretty much don't go away.
Right. And
I'm always a monthly donor. I've canceled one monthly gift in my giving career, and it was a pretty egregious offense. So it takes a lot.
Yeah. And to add to that, Chad, I think, the monthly giving, it really kind of, again, we're navigating these really tricky times, right? And so it really brings us that stability to really invest in the infrastructure, right? That we need, the operations to build that infrastructure for that lasting, sustainable impact. So I am very biased to monthly giving, but obviously you need to really execute all fundraising strategies.
Yeah.
So
my dream goal for any, at least small to mid-sized nonprofits, like if you're not big enough to have a mid-sized program, would be you have maybe 100 donors, 50 donors that you keep in touch with quarterly with personal correspondence, and then everybody else just gives on a recurring basis, and you create a nice curated experience where they're hearing lots of impact reporting from you.
That's great. Chad, I'm going to throw out, let's see, we have time maybe for 5 more minutes all. We love those questions. Thank you so much. Let's see here. So another question from Harrison. Can the monthly fundraising be undertaken as one campaign, or would you suggest the nonprofit setting up their monthly giving program through a series of different campaigns throughout the year?
Yeah, what everybody wants to do is kind of like twice a year, I'm going to send out an e-blast asking people to become a monthly donor. You can try it, but I don't really see it working. So kind of this simple little, it's the easy thing. That's why I kind of outline that very curated personal touch. And because it's curated and personal and takes time, I like to just run it. I typically don't send them in Q4, but from like February 1st to Halloween, kind of 5 a week. Can we get 5 of these out? Just slow, steady progress to try to get some supplemental growth.
That's great. That's great. Well, Chad, I want to extend a thank you. We know this, you have been a long time, just a valuable resource in our professional circle. I'm guessing it's just nuts with all of those fundraisers and conferences coming out. And just looking here at the chat, we're just all very grateful for the wealth that you're sharing. So thank you so much for being a guest speaker on today's session. And of course, to all of you, I'm a former executive director, a former development director. I know how hard the work that you're doing is. It's also very impactful. Keep the chin up, and honored to really help you provide the resources you need to succeed. So thank you so much for attending today. Have an amazing week. And remember, we're here for you and cheering you on.